Hello everybody, and welcome to the video. This video today is going to be about Rengar, a powerful burst assassin that has a high skill floor but an even higher skill ceiling. Going into the lore first, Rengar was born into the Kilosh, a Vastayan tribe who revere, honor, and glory of the hunt. The Kilosh were a Spartan-like tribe, so when Rengar was born as the runt, it was expected that he would starve to death. He left the tribe filled with shame, only to follow behind a legendary hunter in the wilderness. Eventually, Rengar was kicked to the curb by the hunter and forced to hunt on his own. Once he felt he had grown enough, he had attempted to return to the tribe, only to be scoffed at. He was told by the chief that the only way he would be accepted back into the tribe was to bring back the head of the wretched void creature Kha'Zix. This then led to a fateful encounter with the bug that scratched his eye out. Rengar had returned to the village after his conflict with Kha'Zix, only to realize that he was sent because his father, the chieftain, was too cowardly to go after the Void Reaver himself. Filled with disgust, Rengar leapt and struck down his father. Rengar then left to go after Kha'Zix, the only one he sees as an equal, for himself, not the tribe. Moving on into the build section, Rengar can be played in two main roles, top and jungle. The best runes for top, as of patch 10.11, are Conquer, Triumph, Legend Bloodline, or Legend Alacrity, and Last Stand for primary, and then Inspiration secondary with Magical Footwear and Cosmic Insight. And the mini runes for all the runes, both jungle and top, no matter what, are attack speed, adaptive, and defensive rune based on matchup. Moving on, for the jungle, you can either run Electrocute, Sudden Impact, Eyeball Collection, Relentless, and you can swap Eyeball Collection out for wards if you're in a higher elo and people are more likely to ward. And then the secondary tree is Inspiration, Magical Footwear, and Futures Market. Futures Market is really good, so you can get your Tiamat very early, which is a key item for clearing on Rengar. Or you can run Conquer, Triumph, Legend Alacrity, or Bloodline, and then Coup de Grace, and then Sudden Impact, Relentless. And you can swap that out for Futures Market and Boots. It's really up to personal preference. Now that we've gone through the runes, let's start with the abilities. Rengar has a two-part passive: killing an enemy, or the enemy being killed by a teammate and you have damaged them within 1.5 seconds of their death. And this stacks only for the first time you kill every single champion on the enemy team or get an assist. Moving on to his second part of his passive, which separates the good Rengars from the great. When in a bush, Rengar can jump to his target, whether it be wards, monsters, plants, or champions, and then while leaping at 0 ferocity, generates 1 ferocity stack. At 4 ferocity stacks, Rengar can cast an empowered ability and gain temporary movement speed. This passive allows for insane outplays between leaping from champ to champ and the use of unique empowered abilities based on situation. Rengar's Q, Savagery, is Rengar's main damage source. It also gives Rengar 40% attack speed for his next 2 autos. Empowered Q grants Rengar the attack speed for 5 seconds. Moving on to Rengar's W, Battle Roar. Battle Roar deals an AoE burst of magic damage and heals himself for 50% of the damage taken in the last 1.5 seconds. And Empowered W is actually very good into comps with things like Malzahar or point-and-click CC because it allows you to remove all CC. All of it. You can cast it while you're CC'd. It's like Cleanse. Rengar's E, Bola Strike. Bola Strike, Rengar throws out a bola that slows for 1.75 seconds, and then when it's empowered, it roots for 1.75 seconds. Going on to Rengar's ultimate, Thrill the Hunt. Rengar can gain movement speed and true sight of the nearest enemy champion in range. After a brief 2-second startup, Rengar is camouflaged and can jump to an enemy without the need of a bush. Jumping to an enemy reduces their armor for 4 seconds. But beware of control wards, they reveal Rengar in his ult. Rengar is literally one of the scariest things if you're playing like an ADC or a mid laner, because once he hits 6 and then you see the symbol above your head of Rengar being close, you have to you're pretty scared because he's just gonna jump on you and one-shot you. Moving on to clears. So on first clear, Rengar can usually start starts red buff because he doesn't have mana. He has ferocity, so he doesn't need to start blue buff for the mana. So red buff is really good, and he can look to invade level 2 if you know your jungler is either weak, like their jungler's either really weak early game, like a Karthus or Shyvana, and you know they started the opposite side and they're gonna vertically jungle you, or they just invade you. But if you don't invade, you can just full clear. But you'll want to practice clearing raptors. I know this from experience. Very hard clearing raptors without Tiamat. For Scuttle as well, to use Empowered E, because since it roots, it reduces the Scuttle's armor and gets rid of all of it. Moving on to items, Rengar, you want to rush Tiamat, as I said before. After that, you rush Duskblade, and then you go into Edge of Night, so you can, when you ult, you can't be stopped mid-jump, or you can just go in an Assassinate Zone without having to worry about a root or a stun, so it's really helpful for that. And since you don't have to use it like old Edge of Night where you actually had to activate it before using it, it activates automatically. It's really strong. And then after Edge of Night, most Rengars go for LDR, which is Lord Dominic's Regard, and it gives armor pen, 45% armor pen. Yeah. But you don't need to go LDR. You can go what's it called? Mortal Reminder. If they have healing champions that are gonna prove to be a pain. And then after that, you can go into Yomu's and then PD, and you usually upgrade Tiamat into Ravenous Hydra because it just gives you healing, and it's really nice to have. And usually you can upgrade your boots into Lucidity boots unless the matchup you're going against is really hard and you need to have either Merc Treads because they have a lot of CC, or Ninja Tabby because their jungler's an auto attacker, or you just need armor for them. Moving on to combos, which is what probably a lot of people are here for. You have the triple Q combo, the ultimate one-shot. So the triple Q combo works like this. You have max ferocity stacks, but you ult. You have max ferocity stacks, you ult, and you empowered Q. And now you have time to have the empowered Q and your ult going at the same time. So once you jump, you're at 0 ferocity stacks. But since you're jumping and you already have 0 ferocity, it's going to generate 1 more. So you're going to be able to jump and have empowered Q, and then you can EW, and then you can Q again for max ferocity, and then you can Q 1 more time because that's your second full ferocity. So you can Q again, and then you can just Tiamat anywhere basically. Usually people do it at the end of the combo though because it's just easier, or if the enemy won't process that you might have Tiamat, so they're not expecting the extra damage. But that's a relatively situational thing. That's if you have max ferocity stacks and ult up. But the more basic combo is bush jump EWQ Q, because when you're at 0 ferocity and you jump to somebody, you can also cast your E mid jump, so you already start with 2 ferocity by the time you land, because the jumping gives you a ferocity since you're at 0, and you can cast your E mid-air, and then you W, and then you Q. And you can Q because if they try to run away, Q actually gives you 25 extra range, and that's really helpful, and it also makes that people don't expect that you still have Q up, or they're not expecting the damage because they think you've used all of it after you jump EW, you know? So it's really good for finishing them off so they don't think they have to flash yet. But something to be careful of, you can still flash Rengar Q. You can flash out of range, and it's a bug that Riot hasn't fixed yet. So that's just something to be aware of. And that is going to be majority of the combos. But moving on to something more, something different, we're going to move on to skins of Rengar. And skins are a relatively important thing in the Rengar community. Basically, don't run Mecha Rengar. Ever. Everyone sees it as like the worst skin Rengar has. I personally think SSW is worse, but a lot of people, like, if really good Rengar skins are Headhunter, Nighthunter, and Guardian of the Sands. Pretty Kitty isn't that bad either, but Classic Rengar is also just really nice. So, just a little something different. But other than that, thank you all for watching. This video took a lot of effort, so it would mean a lot if you would like, subscribe, and share with a friend. And I will be seeing you in the next one. Bye-bye.